Well, Shaman, congratulations on the homework you did. It sounds like it was really a good learning experience. And one of the things you told me in describing the homework is that sometimes you were pretty engrossed, pretty mindfully focused in the conversations, but sometimes, which is completely natural, you would get caught up into your paying attention to your anxious symptoms and feelings and thoughts. Is that right?
Yeah. There were some times, like you said, that I did feel like I was able to really engage in the conversation, but other times I would feel hot or stumble over my words, and then I would find myself then getting really nervous and uncomfortable.
Okay, and that's completely natural. Learning to be mindfully focused, externally focused, lost in the conversation is a skill. And like any other skill, it takes practice. And I have an idea for an experiment that we can do in session now that will help you practice treating your hot thoughts, treating your anxious thoughts like background noise. We can't turn off the thoughts, but if we treat it like noise and not pay attention to them, then they don't bother us so much. Sometimes we don't even notice them, and we can get engrossed in the conversation more easily that way. I
Okay.
suggest that we do that this time in you being the only person speaking, sort of like you're giving a presentation, because you said that public speaking, speaking in group meetings at your job, for example, is one of the things that makes you very anxious.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Okay, and that's, by the way, that's the most common form of social anxiety, although there's many other forms like speaking to strangers too. So we're going to practice you giving a talk about something that you're very familiar with. It could be telling a story about a pet you've had or about a hobby or a vacation. What's a topic that you can speak without any preparation about for a few minutes?
I could probably talk about vacation.
Okay, that's a good one. I enjoy hearing about vacations. Now, before we do, I'm going to play a recording I made. This is very strange, I know, but I made this recording of social anxiety hot thoughts, anxious thoughts. So I'm going to play that right now. Listen to it and tell me if you relate to any of these.
Okay.
I don't know what to say. What do I say next? I'm coming across as so uninteresting, so boring as usual. I got to get out of this conversation or I'm just going to feel so stupid again. What is he thinking of me? This goes on and on, so I'll turn it off. Find a way to leave. Do you relate to any of these hot thoughts? I'm curious.
Yeah, they're like exactly what I say to myself.
Okay, okay. And so what we're going to do in this experiment is I'm going to ask you to tell me the story of a vacation that you took. But while you're telling that story, I'm going to play this recording as though these hot thoughts were going on in your head.
I have to talk while listening to that.
That's right, because in real life, that's kind of what happens is that you would have thoughts, they'd be in your voice, but you would have thoughts going on in your head that are more or less similar to these. And we don't get to turn them off, but we do get to ignore them, treat them like noise. And so your challenge in this experiment is actually similar to what we did in the experiments last session, is to ignore the stuff going on in your head, only in this case, it's in the recording. Ignore all those thoughts, treat them like background noise, and instead just get engrossed, get lost in the story you're telling me. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, so let's turn on that recording again. I'm so nervous. Why am I so tell me the story of one of your favorite vacations, Shannon. You could probably
Um,
see that I'm nervous.
One of my
She could see
favorite
that I'm sweating.
vacations that I can remember,
Why
I
am
guess,
I
is
sweating?
my
It's not
first
hot.
vacation that
She's
I
gonna
went
think I'm
on
really weird
when I
and
was about
odd.
5 years old.
And I'm
And
blushing.
we went to the
How
Bahamas.
embarrassing. I shouldn't be
And I don't
blushing.
remember very much. I
And
remember
my
having a
voice
lot
is
of fun.
quivering and
And I
shaking. My hands are
remember
jittering. What do I
eating
do with my
maraschino
hands?
cherries And I remember eating hot dogs right out of the refrigerator.
Note to the viewer, in an actual session, this would go on for a few minutes until the client is done with her story. Well, congratulations, Shamin. That was a great story. By the way, you make me want to go there and see if I can do that on my next vacation. And tell me, how did it go for you? First of all, how did it feel?
At first it was hard. It was hard to not pay attention to the voice, to what you were saying. But when I got started, and I started to have some more like visualizations of what it was like to be there, I started to be able to feel what it was like when I was there, and some of the happy memories, that helped me to not pay so much attention to the background noise and to get more engrossed in the conversation.
Wow. Well, that was a successful experiment. Your challenge is to try to get more engrossed in the conversation and to treat the hot thoughts like background noise. And to a large degree, you're able to do that. And I found the story quite interesting, as I said. So congratulations. What do you think we can learn from this experiment?
Well, I think one of the things that I came into therapy hoping was that I could turn off the thoughts, that I could stop them or control them in some kind of way. And what I've learned is that I might not be able to stop them, but that I can manage them differently by not paying attention to them as much. And then
What's the result of doing that? Yeah.
yeah, when I do that, then I can be more involved in the conversation, be more of an active participant, and I feel less anxious.
Excellent. That's a really important lesson. We can treat our negative thoughts as noise. And the more we do that, the more we get engrossed in the conversation or engrossed in what we're saying, the less the thoughts bother us, the less they distract us, perhaps the less anxious they make us. So I'm going to suggest as homework that you continue practicing this external mindfulness skill, part of which is defusing is the term, treating your thoughts like background noise whenever you're anxious, and instead just get engrossed in what you or the other person is saying.
Okay.